Let us now examine interest group strategies, including direct strategies, litigation, expert testimony, and indirect strategies, public outreach, climate control, and electioneering. Interest groups utilize two primary categories of strategies to influence public policy: direct strategies, which involve actual contact with policymakers, and indirect strategies, which aim to persuade the public or use intermediaries to advocate for their cause. Litigation as a direct strategy. When an interest group lacks the political clout to influence a congressional committee or the financial resources to compete with industry lobbyists, they turn to the judicial branch. Litigation allows a group to bypass the legislative process and appeal directly to constitutional principles or existing laws. Litigation can result in shifts in policy that a legislature might be too gridlocked to address. If an executive agency is failing to enforce a law, interest groups can sue to force that agency to act. One of the most significant examples of litigation mentioned is the case of Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission. The interest group Citizens United argued that federal bans on corporate and union spending for political advertising violated their First Amendment right to free speech. In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court agreed, ruling that corporations, labor unions, and nonprofits have the same free speech protections as individuals when it comes to political communications. Today, other interest groups like American Promise are using the same strategy, advocating for a constitutional amendment to try and overturn that very ruling. Interest groups are vital resources of information for policymakers because they possess technical know-how and data that government officials often lack. This strategy is a form of direct influence. Interest groups have the staff and financial resources to investigate proposed policies. They provide policymakers with statistics, research findings, and technical expertise that can help clarify complex issues. Interest groups frequently provide expert testimony by sending representatives to testify before congressional committees or subcommittees. Often include scientists, lawyers, or industry specialists. Groups sometimes use celebrities to testify because they attract greater attention than standard policy experts. While direct strategies focus on the insiders in Washington, indirect strategies focus on the outsiders, the general public, and the electorate. These tactics are often ongoing and aim to create a political environment where a group's goals are naturally supported by both citizens and policymakers. Public outreach is a way interest groups work to educate the public and build a positive reputation for their cause or organization. Groups use social media and advertising to bring issues into the public arena. For example, the hashtag #MeToo served as a shorthand rallying cry that mobilized a massive social movement regarding workplace harassment. Climate control is another way interest groups work to build a positive reputation for their cause or organization. Climate control is the practice of using public relations to build goodwill. If the public views a corporation or group favorably, it is much easier for that group to pass its legislative agenda. For example, Walmart used ads featuring successful employees to counter criticism about low wages, aiming to convince both citizens and local planning boards that they are a quote, corporate citizen. Electioneering. Electioneering is the process of influencing who gets elected to office. Groups believe that helping the right people win is the most effective way to ensure long-term policy success. PACs donate money to candidates, with a heavy bias toward incumbents, current office holders, who are statistically more likely to win and can immediately protect the group's interests. Groups formally support specific candidates and rate them on a scale, 0% to 100%, based on their voting records.